Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we are going to talk about Aubrey Plaza's brilliant Megalopolis. All right, so let's dig into this. So first of all, Megalopolis is a masterpiece. It is a 5 out of 5 star piece of art that changes the people who watch it and is changed by the people who have the courage to watch it, right? It's really profound, and it is an American masterpiece. All right. Okay. Now, with that said, and I'm not going to defend that, and I'm not going to try to convince you of that. Right. And the reason why is I saw Megalopolis, and you didn't. Okay. And extremely few people saw Megalopolis, and I think that was on purpose. But I want to stay laser focused on the purpose of this video. So let's start talking about Megalopolis in conjunction to Dungeons and Dragons. So first of all, is Megalopolis a Dungeons and Dragons movie? Yes, absolutely. So what's the connection? Well, Giancarlo Esposito. Okay, so Giancarlo Esposito is Sidewinder in Captain America Brave New World, and that he is a Marvel character. Every Marvel character is canon to Dungeons and Dragons. And how and why are they all canon to Dungeons and Dragons? Well, the reason how and why they're canon to Dungeons & Dragons is through the Magic the Gathering bridge. Just happened recently. So Marvel officially announced a Magic the Gathering set, and Magic the Gathering officially announced the same Marvel set. And so all of Marvel and Magic the Gathering, and so Marvel is canon to Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering is canon to Dungeons & Dragons. Carlo Esposito's Marvel character is canon to Dungeons & Dragons. So I consider this a Dungeons & Dragons film, in my humble opinion. Right. So that's one of the reasons why we're talking about it today. Now, Megalopolis is an American masterpiece. 5 out of 5 star transformative piece of art. Exactly like Dungeons & Dragons. But unlike Dungeons & Dragons, it's given me, so my end goal is always to understand Dungeons & Dragons, right? Because I believe that Dungeons & Dragons is a warehouse of freight, right? It is literally crate upon crate upon crate. And every day we pop open a new crate and we find a new, Ark of the Covenant, right? Like it is filled with wonders, right? Like, and I think it is a life's journey to understand what Gary Gygax actually accomplished on February 7th, 1974. That is a life's journey. It has certainly been my life's journey to understand it. And Megalopolis is the perfect instrument to fully demonstrate a triumvirate of meaning within Dungeons and Dragons. And let's start that journey. Okay. So there are 3 things that we learn from Megalopolis, 3 core tenets that we learn about Dungeons and Dragons from Megalopolis. So Megalopolis is a challenging piece of art, exactly like Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. And so the first thing that it demands us to ask of ourselves, it demands us to ask of our culture, even beyond ourselves. This is not just a question of us. This is a question of every American, okay? And so here's the first question, right? And this is what Aubrey Plaza was asking when she created this film, right? She essentially, she's saying, can you witness this? Can you witness it? Okay? And it seems like a simple question, and it is a simple question, but the concept is challenging to the core, right? Challenging the very value of you, right? challenging what can you do, what are you worth, what value do you have to anyone, even yourself, right? And the question is, can you witness this? Can you witness this? Okay, now what does that mean? What does that mean? Okay, so first of all, let's talk about it from the perspective of Megalopolis. Megalopolis is a challenging piece of art. It was so challenging that the critic community destroyed it before it ever even arrived. They were like, let me assure you, this is utter junk and should be witnessed by no one. And guess what? They convinced everyone, including me. I wrote Megalopolis off, and I was like, oh, you're Megalopolis. I'm not going to waste my time on that junk, right? So what rescued the film for me? Like a dog from the pound, right? Like what rescued this film? Why did I go see it? Grace Randolph gave it a great review and said that she really enjoyed it. And I was like, wait, what now? This was supposed to be useless junk. I heard one reviewer review it, and he's like, this is just a stoner dream. There's nothing here. Move on. Nothing to see. And this is a person who saw it months ago. It's like, there's nothing of significance in this film. It's a 5-star American masterpiece. And the critics told you not to go see it for a very distinct reason, right? This film is a divider line in American culture, right? It is, are you intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually adventurous? Or are you just sheep, right? Do you do what you're told? Stay away. This isn't for you. It's junk. Nothing to see here. You don't need to know about the connections between America and Rome. You don't need to know about the connections between culture and money. You don't need to know about the connections between. You don't need to know a distinct view on political violence. You don't need to know why the absolute elite talent in both the oldest elite talent and the newest elite talent would give themselves to this piece of art, right? You don't need to see what intellectual scaffolding, what can be done with intellectual scaffolding when emotional vehicles arrive and build within the scaffolding. It's incredible. Like, it is absolutely astonishing, right? But can you witness it? Can you witness this, right? And I'm not even going to say art, because Megalopolis is something far beyond art, exactly like Dungeons and Dragons. It's beyond anything that's been defined before. It's not just a film, right? It's way more than that. And I think books are going to be written about this movie, and it is going to be a dividing line in America. There'll be people who saw Megalopolis and are ready for an elevated conversation, an elevated experience in life, and there's going to be the people who are simply left behind and cannot witness this. They cannot witness this, right? Now, the only reason I saw this movie was Grace Randolph's shocking good review of it, right? I would not have seen it without her. So this movie was rescued for me, right? Now, I listen to every single, piece of content that Grace Randolph creates, right? And so I had to work to get this gift to me, right? I didn't get lucky, right? My labor of following another genius produced what geniuses produce, which is opportunity, right? And so I got to see this and I witnessed it, but you didn't, right? You cannot witness this. You cannot witness this, right? Which means you cannot go to the second and the third layers of the triumvirate, okay? Of an artistic triumvirate that is created by Megalopolis that perfectly mirrors the exact triumvirate experience that Dungeons and Dragons creates, right? And I do want to talk, so when I say can you witness this, there are literally the vast majority of the vast majority of Americans, I would say 95% of Americans will die without ever witnessing Dungeons and Dragons. And I mean physical books at the physical table with a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, season and season and season. 3 seasons, full campaign, right? That 95% of all Americans cannot witness this. Why? I'm not a nerd. Why? Well, I'd be embarrassed to act like another person and use a different voice at the table. I don't care about intangible things. 4 hours? That's too long. Right? I think a friend of mine did that in college. I'm not like that, man. I'm not going to sit around at the table and pretend to be an elf. They cannot witness it because they cannot imagine ever having another identity. It is unimaginable to them, right? And I think one of the reasons why is many people can barely handle the identity they have. Some people don't wake up to ever watch the sunrise on the real world they lived on. They cannot witness a sunrise on 30 worlds. They cannot witness this. Right now, you cannot witness Megalopolis. Nothing is going to get you into the theater to see it. Here's another thing, right? You don't even know how something is witnessed, right? You think you can witness this on the small screen. You cannot. This film was not born for the small screen. And I think Megalopolis is proof that no art can be experienced on the small screen. If you are watching a film that released on the big screen and now has plopped out the end of your streamer, right, to you, and you watched it there, seal your flapping maw. Do not give a review for something that you watched on the small screen, because you didn't witness anything. All you did was register content, right? Not even content. You registered images. You saw nothing, right? And I really feel we need to reach a point where if you tell people you watch something on a small screen, you only have the right to say, my eyeballs viewed images from this piece of art that existed on the big screen. You cannot witness Megalopolis on the small screen. Everyone who sees it there and says, I saw Megalopolis on the small screen is simply saying, I have no conception of art. I do not understand what art is. That's it. That it is proof, it is evidence presented that you are intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually devoid. And that you as a human being lack a fundamental part of what makes a human. You cannot witness this on a small screen. And if you think you can, again, you don't have any ability to witness it. And it's the same thing with Dungeons and Dragons. They're like 19 out of 20 Americans will be put in a pine box with one identity when they had the opportunity to have 30, right? And it's the same thing here. You are being challenged by me right now, right? Who are you? What are you? You will remain a lesser human being if you do not see Megalopolis on the big screen. You will miss an opportunity that is fundamentally human. This is what we were born to do, right? We were born to witness. This is one of the things we were born to do. We were born to witness this thing that transcends art, right? And that's Dungeons and Dragons, and that's Megalopolis. They are twins, right? And they are part of a triumvirate experience, which by the time I'm done with my 3 videos, you'll understand what the Triumvirate experience is. But the first part is, can you witness this? But guess what? If you can't witness this, you can't do any of the other 2 levels either, right? Level 1, level 2, level 3. We learned it from Gary, right? You have to progress through, all right? You have to see Megalopolis. You will not understand Dungeons and Dragons without doing it, and you will never understand your humanity without doing it. And you will always be lesser. Get to the big screen. Witness Megalopolis. That's the only path forward, in my humble opinion. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.